What's up, crazy people? Thanks for coming back to my channel, Mike versus everyone. Let's talk about Spotify and Joe Rogan again. I know this is kind of getting overplayed. I just watched a video with Joe Rogan talking about Chris Cuomo and those weights he was lifting, and I thought that was crazy. That's not what I want to talk about, but I thought that was crazy. Anyway, so that kind of brought this up. I'm no longer going to be watching Joe Rogan, his podcast anymore, for the simple fact that Spotify has completely turned me off from anything that has to do with that platform. Unfortunately, I'm a fan of Joe Rogan. I love his podcast. I love the guests he has on. I love hearing the ideas. I don't agree with a lot of things Joe says. However, it's a great podcast to watch. I think you get a lot of different people on there with a lot of backgrounds, a lot of different ideas coming out. So it's cool. It's great. I love how Joe's into the whole free speech. No matter what your thoughts are, what your ideologies are on something, he wants to hear it. He wants to talk about it. He wants to discuss it. And that is something we don't have enough of in this country today. So kudos to Joe Rogan and his podcast. I'm a fan. However, the only thing I'll be watching on YouTube with Joe Rogan anymore is the clips. Spotify completely turned me off when, and I think it's obviously, you know why. All the employees for Spotify started talking about censoring Joe Rogan and going on strike if they couldn't censor his podcast, and he couldn't have this guest and he couldn't have that guest. Alex Jones can't come on here anymore. Gavin McInnes can't come on here anymore. That's just quelling free speech. That's just taking away free speech. So the Spotify CEO, in my opinion, I would like to think that I would have done this if I owned a multi-billion-dollar company. Who knows? I would have went in there and said, everyone complaining and wants to censor Joe Rogan's podcast, you're all fired. You're all fired. There's plenty of people that need jobs out there, plenty of qualified candidates. We're in the middle of a worldwide pandemic. I'm sure there's a lot of people looking for work. You're all fired. I don't need any of these crybabies working for me. They wanted to censor this guy because they didn't agree with, so their reason for calling Joe Rogan a transphobic is because he said that he made a couple jokes about Caitlyn Jenner, and they're jokes. He's a comedian. Lighten up. But he was talking about, was it an MMA match or a boxing match or something where a transgender that was a male for the majority of his life decided to transform into a female, decided to become a female, and so was fighting these real biological women. This person was a biological man that was fighting biological women and just decimating them, destroying them in the fights. And Joe Rogan said, no, that you, and nobody knew. This person wasn't telling people that he had been a man most of his life. I 100% agree with Rogan on that, 100%. And then he had another guest on, Abigail Schreier, I think it was, and she had written a book about it, and they talked about it. So there was this open dialogue back and forth of, what different people thought about transgenders, and there was nothing about anyone being transphobic. There was some scientific facts. There was no hurtful content. It was just open dialogue and some opinions and some scientific facts. And then they start labeling him and calling him a transphobe. And Caitlyn Jenner's firing back at him, and these people want to censor him. And then they start talking about what guests he can and can't have on. His episodes aren't moving over. So, as much as I love the Joe Rogan podcast, I think Joe's been doing a few things lately that I haven't been super impressed with, but who am I to say, who cares? Listen, I'm not going to download Spotify on any Spotify apps on my phone, my laptop, nothing. I'm done. A company like that lets people try to bully them, and I'm glad the CEO didn't give in and bow down and say, yeah, we're going to, who knows? So far as we know, none of this has happened. He's not getting censored. Still don't know what's going on with the missing episodes not being transferred over, or who he's going to be able to have on for guests. I'd love to see Joey Coco Diaz back on there, but I mean, if these Spotify employees get their way, Joey Diaz isn't going back on one of his best buddy shows, which is pretty sad. So, Spotify, you've lost a customer. I know it's not going to put a dent in your pocket. I mean, I'm just some dub over here spitting some stupid things into a camera, but if enough people, just regular, average, everyday people, said, to hell with it, I'm not going to support a company that lets these people try to bully them into censorship and, taking away people's freedom of speech. If enough people stood up and said that, that would be a big problem for Spotify. So, I don't know, I guess we'll see what happens. But I think this may be the start of the demise for that company. Was it a good idea for Joe Rogan to go over there? I mean, yeah, $100 million contract, of course, it was great. Great for him. Like I said, it's still going to be YouTube clips, but the censorship part of it is super scary. These people thinking it's okay to want to censor Joe Rogan, that's even scarier. Who are these entitled kids to say, we have to censor this, we have to edit this, we have to keep these guests up? Like, where do these kids think that they have the right to say that? Kids, adults, men, women, I don't know who they are, I don't know, but what gave them the right to feel like they had the idea that, they're able to censor people and what they say and who they talk to? That's scary. So Spotify, those are your employees. I want nothing to do with it. Clean house and say, I'm getting rid of all these people. We're going to come bring people in that aren't going to cry and whine and go to their safe space. If Joe Rogan has somebody on that has an idea that differs from theirs, then I'll gladly download your app. I'll gladly be a Spotify customer. So, I don't know. I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more from the Joe Rogan things going on here. And I'll try to make some videos and keep everyone updated on what's going on. I know there's a lot of that on YouTube as well. But as of now, Spotify, you're not getting my business. So that's where I stand. And like I said, if you like what I had to say, hit the like button, hit the dislike button. I'm not going to be mad at you. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Are you going to follow Joe Rogan over to Spotify? Have you already made the move? Are you okay with what the employees said? And I'm just getting started here on YouTube. I got a lot of great things planned. So if you could hit that subscribe button and help me grow, it would be wonderful. I would greatly appreciate it. That's my rant for the day, guys. Thanks for checking me out. Have a great day.